We don't rise to the level of our goals, but we do fall to the level of our systems. In today's tactical episode, I'm going to give you guys the success systems that have really helped me transform my life. I'm talking helping me in my late 30s be able to maintain a high level of fitness, giving me the ability to have a successful business that has produced millions of dollars over the last decade. And most importantly, has helped me save many people's lives by using the Training for Warriors Saga program. I'm your host, Coach Cory Fernandes, and this is the Excelsior Podcast. And guys, this is the podcast for busy professionals who are looking to lose fat, build muscle, and transform their health. And what we do, guys, on this podcast is we just take the complicated, confusing aspects of fitness and we break it down to simple strategies and tactics so that way you guys can get real results. All right. So, guys, like I said, this is going to be a very tactical episode. I'm a big believer of setting goals. But what happens is we set goals and we don't have the appropriate game plan. Then we don't have the appropriate systems and then we never reach those goals. So I want to give you guys some key systems that I think you could write down, you could listen, you could record it, and then you guys could start using these tomorrow, this week, this month, and see quick results coming back. All right. So where I would like to start, I'm going to start with time and priority management systems. And you might be thinking, hey, I thought this is a health podcast. Like I thought we're learning about nutrition, we're learning about fitness. Yes, we are. And one of the things that I've noticed that stops people from transforming their health is priorities and time management. So when we start to solve those with, clear systems that you can execute, all of a sudden you have more time to work out. All of a sudden you have less stress when it comes to eating and finding the right amount of protein and going on a walk and getting the right amount of sleep. So very, very important for you to tackle. So the first system that I'm going to talk about is basically how to do a 12-week plan. And how I kind of discovered this, I would say back in 2000 and maybe 2019, maybe 18, I can't remember. TFW Saga was taken off. He had the most amount of members that I've ever had. It was the most amount of money that I ever made as a business owner. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, my business is becoming successful. I finally have like employees that are like under me. I have a little bit of time where I'm not doing every aspect in my business. And then my mind started to think, oh, what else should I do? I keep seeing on social media is like, oh man, you got to go into real estate. You got to go make money while you're sleeping. You got to diversify. So at the time I was feeling the personal growth. I was reading books and I was trying to learn and expand my knowledge. And one of the things that I did is I was reading a book on investments. I was reading a book on real estate. And then I opted into a website. I opted into a webinar. And then this webinar was about real estate. And I think at the time what it was how to do wholesaling. And I bought this course. And because I bought the course was maybe $500, but then they do upsells. And then the upsell was like, man, why don't you be a part of a mastermind group that's going to show you exactly how to do this. And if you haven't noticed by watching the podcast, I'm a very like action-oriented person. When I feel like, man, I could do something, I'm ready to go. So I feel like I'm easily sold on stuff. And it led to a call when I was on a call with a salesperson. And basically he sold me to join this kind of like mastermind program where I would meet with a real estate coach every week and they would help me learn how to build my wholesaling business. And essentially what happened is I would never show up to these calls because I was still learning how to do real business at my gym here, Training for Warrior Saga, that I never had the time. I wasn't prioritizing my schedule. I was always overwhelmed. And finally I got on a call with this coach and he's like, hey dude, like you gotta get yourself organized. And essentially what he recommended, he said, hey, there's this book that I really recommend to people that need to get organized. And it's called The 12-Week Year. And basically the concept of the book is how to get a year's worth of results for most people in literally 12 weeks. And it's just the concept of when you have clear focus, you know how to create a game plan, you have clear tactics, you can get exponential results. All right. And so I got the book, and basically, I think I always tell the story because it was an expensive lesson for me that I spent thousands of dollars on this mastermind that I didn't even end up starting a real estate business. I canceled my membership. But the thing is, I got that book and I deep dive in that book and I learned these lessons. And ever from that experience, I've been way better at creating a 12-week plan, protecting my focus, but most importantly, having clear tactics that help me get to the goals. So for you, if you struggle with, priorities and how to focus on some of your long-term goals that are maybe a year away, 3 years away, the key is not just setting goals once a year. It's shrinking it down to, hey, those are my long-term goals. How can I get some of those done in 12 weeks? Right? How can I get closer to those big goals in 12 weeks? So this is the concept of the 12-week year. First thing we want to do, there's only so much that we could focus on in a quarter, right? In 3 months, in 12 weeks. So what the book I learned from is, hey, focus on one if you want the most opportunity for success, maybe two, the most three things in a 12-week span. So I'll give you an example. That might be, you might focus on dropping a certain amount of pounds of body fat. Another thing you might focus on is saving a certain amount of money when it comes to your personal finances. And then a third thing we might focus on in your 12-week plan is spending a certain amount of time with your family. So those would be three types of categories that you would focus on in your 12 weeks. But then you want to take it a step later is setting a very specific, measurable, and time-bound goal, right? So it's not saying, hey, I want to lose weight this next 12 weeks. It's being specific. I want to lose 10 pounds of fat by August 1st. That's the deadline. So that's the thing that you want to do is you want to set a specific goal. The next thing you want to do is what's the emotional reason behind it? You have to have a purpose behind the goal. So the next thing would be is, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds of body fat over the next 12 weeks because I don't want to go on my vacation feeling disgusted looking at myself because every time I go on vacation, I'm always covering myself. I'm not wearing clothes that I feel comfortable with. That's an emotional reason for some people. Another reason is like, hey, I want to, be able to be confident, me and my wife, because we're going to take some amazing pictures this vacation. And I want to look back at these memories and be proud of myself. So putting an emotional reason. The next thing that you want to do, which is probably the most important part, is you want to have 3 to 5 tactics. So the tactics are the actions, they're the habits that produce the goal. So most people, they set a goal, they put a start date, maybe they put a reason why, and then that's it. They don't really have a clear game plan that they're tracking on a weekly basis. So for the person who's trying to lose, this 10 pounds of body fat over the next 12 weeks, some of their tactics might be, hey, I'm going to work out 4 times a week, right? I'm going to do a 30-minute walk every single day. I'm going to eat 150 grams of protein. I'm going to focus on 7 hours of sleep. So for that person, that might be their routine tactics that they do, and they obsess over executing those tactics at about 80% execution to actually see the results. That was one of the big things that I realized is if someone's executing 80% of the time in their 12-week plan, they're going to get results. It doesn't mean you have to have 97, 99, 100% to be able to see progress. 80%. Where most people, it's 30, it's 50%, and they see minimal change. So that's kind of the big system that has really helped me drive revenue, drive profit, have growth when it comes to my business. But it's also helped me stay on track when it comes to my fitness. It's taking these big annual goals that seem so far away and they have no urgency and shrinking them down to over the next 12 weeks, I'm laser focused on this goal. This is the reason why I want to achieve this goal. And these are the fewest tactics and the most important tactics that I need to actually make this happen. All right. So that's the 12-week year system. Now, breaking it down a little bit further, a big part of it is a weekly game plan. So I think so many busy professionals get overwhelmed, stressed out, um, just just anxiety driven, busy because they don't have a game plan to how the week should look. So the weekly game plan, the way I want you to think about it is think about, having whatever, if it's your Google Calendar. I know some strategies that I've seen, it's literally having a written calendar where you write it in because there's a lot of power to your brain connecting to the things that you write down. But start with the priorities in your life. Another way of saying priorities, guys, is rocks, is the things that are just so important to your life. And before you think about your job, which of course is important, I want you to think of like your family. It's like a time that you spend with your family that is so critical to you. But then also the other thing I want you to think about, it's your health. It is those workouts that help make everything else better in your life. So that's where I would start, is putting those in your calendar. So for example, for me, I know what are my days in the week that I work out. So 3 of the days that are always locked in for me is my Monday, my Wednesday, my Thursday, 1:30 p.m. workout. Now, some weeks, depending on what's going on with my schedule, I might say, hey, at Tuesday, I'm going to work out at 8:30 a.m. because I got this going on. Another week, I might say, hey, I'm actually going to work out Friday at 1:30. But I set that in the week so I know it's set. Other things, for example, might be the family time. If there's a specific time in the week where I'm like, you know what, I'm carving out these 2 hours that me and my wife, me and Susie, we're gonna spend watching TV on the couch because I just want to be intimate and have that connection with her. Maybe it's, hey, this is my son's sports schedule. I want to block out these times so I can be there present to enjoy him competing in basketball or football or whatever sport he's playing. So it's setting those, it's setting your work commitments, whatever work schedule you normally have, but maybe there's some things that are out of the ordinary this week that you got to make sure you're putting down. Maybe there's certain meetings that you have. Set those meetings. So hopefully you're kind of understanding how this system works is on a Sunday, what I would say Sunday morning or, early afternoon would be ideal. So that way you can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Maybe you function a little bit more different and it's a Sunday evening, but I find when I do mine Sunday morning, a nice cup of coffee, I have some alone time, some peace and quiet. I feel such a sense of peace and clarity that I enjoy my Sunday that much more. And now I'm prepped and I'm ready to execute when Monday starts. Where when I don't do that, my Mondays are usually feeling much more overwhelming and chaotic and busy, and it just doesn't start the week as sharp. All right. So that's the weekly game plan system. You want to get that done. That might take you 30 minutes when you get really good at it. It also might take you an hour, in the beginning when you're really having a hard time prioritizing your schedule. Now, after that weekly game plan, you want to break that down into your power list. So think of this, at the big picture, we talked about your 12-week plan. Then we're talking about your weekly game plan, which is just basically scaling that up. And then how you basically reach your goal is you got to win the day. So the power list is something that I got from Andy Frisella, and he's the one who made it super popular, and it works. And pretty much what it is, it's not just a routine to-do list. It's 5 critical tasks that you set the night before that if you got those things done, you won the day. Your day was fantastic. And the thing that I love about it, you could finish your 5 critical tasks at 12 p.m., because you chose to wake up at 6 a.m. And then for the rest of the day, you could do whatever you want. You could watch TV, you could hang out with your family, you could just not focus on being so productive. But that's something that's really given me clarity is what are the 5 critical tasks that I need to get done today? Now, one thing that I will say with this, from experience, I would say now 6 years of using this tool on a daily basis, I find it's very hard to get 5 things done. I'm still not at the level where I feel like I consistently get 5 things done. And I think the more successful someone is, that's the things that you notice about them is they're quicker to execution. They have more laser focus on getting their priorities done. So what I would say is don't be surprised if 5 feels a little bit overwhelming. Maybe you got to start with 3. And even for a lot of people, if you find that you're very unorganized, you're coming from not being very productive or getting the results in your fitness and your personal life, start with one. What's the one thing today that if I got done, man, I would feel proud about myself. All right. So that's the power list. How you want to execute this system is the night before, right? The day before, when either maybe you check out of work, you might want to do this, or it could be a part of your, what I call like your sweet dreams routine. Is like when you're getting ready for bed, you're brushing your teeth, you're unwinding, you're disconnecting. And I mean opening up your journal. Maybe it's opening up your phone, your notes section, and it's literally writing the power list for the next day. And it's these 5 critical tasks that you want to get done. So I'll give you an example. If I just open my book right now, my power list was, hey, Financial Friday, go through my finances for my business and my personal expenses. So that was one. Number 2, I had to complete a book onboarding package from my new bookkeeper that I hired. Number 3, I had to respond to all my interview candidates. Number 4, I had to prepare for this podcast and film it. And number 5, I had to fill out this questionnaire for a health benefits plan. So for me, those critical tasks, you can see they're all like business and personal related. For someone else, what might have been included in there is like, man, they got to go for their workout because the workout is still a critical task for them. It's something that is hard for them. I don't put my workout in there because it's easy for me to do now. It's not something that I have to really think about. It's something that gets done. It's not negotiable. So that's the way you want to think of it. It's not a to-do list. It's 5 critical tasks that if you got it done, man, you felt like you moved forward in your pursuit of reaching your goals. One other system that I'm going to add in there, a couple more that I think still falls under this priority and time management, is Magic Time. So I got this concept, I think from a couple people. Craig Ballantyne, he has a book called The Perfect Week Formula. And then Robin Sharma, he's got a bunch of books that I love. I can't remember which book I got it from. But, Inner Hero Manifesto. That's one of my favorite books. And basically what he talks about is like, there's only so much brain power that we have, only so much focus that we have. So most of us, if we spend 90 minutes of deep work, uninterrupted, not looking at our phone, for a lot of us and for a lot of people, that's the equivalent of like 8 hours of work. So it's not about just like spending 12 hours sitting at your desk and like not really doing much. It's like, could you give 90 minutes of magic time? So for some people, that might be early in the morning when the kids are asleep. It's nice and quiet in your house. It's before all the emails go off. Maybe for some people that are more like owls at night, they're doing it at nighttime where everybody's sleeping. It's figuring out for you, when do you have that most creativity? When do you have that most focus? And protecting that 90 minutes so that way you can really execute. All right. So that's the magic time. For myself, it's typically early mornings. If I could get myself up from 5 a.m. to 7:30 a.m., I have 90 minutes of not interrupted work. It feels like I just did 8 hours of work. Right. So use that one. Another one that I would say, another good system that will help you be a little bit more productive and protect your focus is batching your days. So this is something that I would say I'm in the implemental phase. Like I don't feel confident with it yet. I'm still working on it. But batching your days means giving your day a feed. So for example, sometimes we go through a day and, maybe I'm talking a little bit to the busy professional who's a business owner or self-employed. You might be doing a certain type of job. Then you might switch gears and you got to do finances, and then you got to switch gears and then you got to actually do the work. It's hard to switch your brain on and off to do those different tasks. So for example, batching your days is giving it a feed. So for example, for me, Friday, which is what we're filming today, oftentimes Fridays for me is Financial Fridays. I sit down at home, I go through my personal finances, I look at the numbers of my business, and it gives me a very clear picture on where things are at and how the week ended. Thursdays for me, a lot of the times, is when I do a lot of my staff development. So it's when I try to prioritize one-on-one meetings with my staff. It's when I do a lot of my interviews, a lot of reach outs to people that are inquiring about Training for Warrior Saga. That's how I like to think about my Thursdays. Wednesdays for me right now in this season is when I do coaching. I'm usually here in the evenings at Training for Warriors. I'm coaching, I'm interacting with clients. And then Mondays and Tuesdays is when I would say it's um, busy day. Like I'm just literally doing a lot of admin, operation stuff that have to do with TFW Saga and servicing our clients. So hopefully that gives you a sense of what I mean. But batching your days, it can be different things to different people. If you're a busy mom, maybe there's a certain day in the week where you're doing house stuff, where it's organizing your house and it's your kids' things. Other days, maybe it's more of the big tasks that you have to do at work. Maybe there's certain days like on a Saturday where it's like, hey, this is my hiking and recovering day. But batching your days is going to help you have a little bit more brain power and focus and not make you feel like you're running around on a hamster wheel. All right. So switching gears here, give you guys a little bit of some health and fitness systems here. So things that when I feel like I'm at my best is I'm getting these things done in the morning. When I feel lost, I feel lethargic, I don't feel sharp, I'm usually not doing these things in the morning to start my day. So, number one, it's hydrating with water. So you can see my cup right here. One of my amazing students, Rena, got me this cup. It's one of my favorite ones. I fill this up in the morning when I get downstairs in the kitchen, and I have about 24 ounces of water to start my day. So don't get so fixated on the exact amounts. I would say any cup that's about this size is probably going to give you anywhere from 16 to 24 ounces. Having at least one of these goes a long way to your energy to start the day. Most people that are in an unhealthy place, they have a lot of weight to lose. They don't have a lot of muscle on their body. They got bad eating habits. They don't start their day drinking water. What they do is they drink coffee. They go to an energy drink. They go to juice. They go to whatever beverages, but they just don't drink water. So literally start your day hydrated. If you could have 2 cups of water, even better, because you're getting a head start on your hydration through the rest of the day. Second one, movement. So that might mean going for a walk outside, right? Getting some steps in for 30 minutes. We call that a second wing workout. That might mean going to the gym or seeing your coach and doing a strength training workout, right? That also might mean something very simple. Maybe it's a 15-minute mobility routine that just makes you feel better with your hips, your back. But getting some sort of movement is super important to get your day going. Third one, invest in personal growth. So maybe you watch this podcast while you're on a walk. That's stacking habits. Maybe on the way to work. Maybe on the way to workout. You're listening to some sort of audiobook that is just changing the way you think, giving you a little bit of knowledge, because knowledge is potential power. It could be you setting 10 minutes before you go to work to just read a book, right? So you have that book right in front of you, which is probably the best way to learn. But doing some sort of personal growth is going to make you better as a person. It's going to make you more valuable. Sun exposure, right? So you could see some of these things can be stacked up against each other, but there's so much research that supports that even if you just get like 10 minutes of exposure to the sun, where the sun is kissing your skin, it's getting on your eyes, what it does, it helps synchronize your cells. It just helps your body function the way it's supposed to be, your hormones, everything. So thinking, can you, especially those of us that are living in Ontario and Canada, is like, can we get outside and get some sun exposure? It's going to change our mood, right? It's getting that vitamin D. Last one year is review your goals and your schedule. So this can literally take you 5 minutes. It's sitting there and your goals that you laid out that I just explained. So what are the goals that you have for the 12 weeks? It's what does your week look like? What's today's power list look like? And reflecting on those, maybe you're expressing a little bit of gratitude, right? To start the day. That changes your whole state and allows you to be a little bit more productive. So those are definitely some of my key morning to-dos. Not all the time am I executing all of those, but the better I am at executing those, the better my life is, the better my results are with my fitness, but also my business and also my personal life. Now, other things that might be another system that are going to help you is the sleep formula. If you're someone who struggles with sleep, this is one of the best sleep formulas that I've ever came across. And this is something that we've been coaching our clients for over 5 years now, is the 3-2-1-0 sleep formula. So very simple when you're thinking about how can I improve my sleep? I'm constantly tossing and turning. I'm waking up feeling super tired. Think about this framework. 3 hours before bedtime, right? You have to know when your intended bedtime is. So for you, if you're like, you know what, I got to get to bed by 10:30 p.m. Okay, 3 hours before, that's when you stop eating food. So at 7:30 p.m., that's when you've had your last meal or your snack, and you're giving yourself some time to digest that food before you go to bed. 2 hours before bedtime, it's stop the work. And I'm all for work and getting things done. But the reason why sometimes we have a hard time sleeping is because we're mentally stimulated. We're just thinking about, man, what's this deadline? Oh, I didn't answer this email. Oh, it'd be nice for me to do this. It's hard to unwind and sleep when you're still working and the laptop's open. So stop your work 2 hours before, and then technology, right? When you have the TV blasting, your phone's right beside, there's loud noises, it's hard for you to unwind and get to sleep. So turn off the TV, put the phone on the floor, and have an hour where you have no distractions and see how much easier it is for your body to kind of unwind and be able to fall asleep more naturally. The zero in the formula of the 3, 2, 1, 0, what it basically represents, it's the next morning when you do hit your alarm is don't press snooze, right? Because you're starting your day breaking the promise to yourself. You set an intention to say, hey, I'm getting up at 6 a.m. Get up at 6 a.m., even sometimes when we don't feel like it. So that's the sleep formula. That's a system that will help you get better quality of sleep. If you get better sleep, you're going to have better fat loss. You're going to get better results. You're going to perform better when you train. You're also going to have more focus to be better at work and to spend more valuable time with your family. Now, last one, guys, to wrap up, that has really helped me in terms of systems. Uh, this is when it comes to nutrition. So this is a very simple system. It's creating a warrior meal. So a warrior meal that you can never go wrong. Like you never have an excuse of like, hey, coach, is this a good structured meal? Is number one is put the protein on the plate. It should be 1 to 2 palm sizes. That's the first thing that you want to prioritize. Number two is, can you have some good vegetables, right? So is it broccoli? Is it spinach? Is it carrots? Whatever your favorite choice of vegetables is, prioritize 1 to 2 fists on the plate. And then also is, hey, get a good carb. One of the best carbs that you could have is fruits. It satisfies a little bit of the sweet craving that we sometimes have, but it's natural sugar. So that right there is what I would call a warrior meal that you can have any time of the day. There's never a wrong time to have protein, vegetables, and some good healthy foods. All right. So that's what we would call as a warrior meal. You could build that. It's a very simple system. You want to eat chicken, put the chicken. You want to have steak, you want to have eggs, you want to have different types of fruit. It's a no-brainer. Where the next thing I want you to think about, and this is, I think, a little bit more specific to most of our busy professionals that are like, man, I want to lose some body fat. Yes, I do want to build muscle, but I want to lose some body fat. This is a simple system that you can use. Is one of the best times to have your starchy carbs is centered around your workouts. So having a little bit of carbs, like starchy carbs, and by that I mean like rice, quinoa, sweet potatoes, could be some form of bread, things like that. Oatmeal is you can have a serving of that before the workout. But I would say even more important is after the workout is a great time for you to incorporate 1 to 2 servings of starchy carbs. It's going to help you recover better from your training. It's going to keep you more full, and it's going to aid in the main results that you want, which is losing body fat, building muscle, and improving your energy levels. And then a little bonus to add on that one too is, when you're thinking, okay, anytime during the day, I can have a warrior meal. Then when I have my post-workout meal, all I got to think about is what is my starchy carb choice. A last little thing to add into your nutrition system is just drinking water with every meal. If you're the person who struggles to get water, it's simple. Before you even eat your food, have that system, that have that rule that, hey, I have to drink, even though I don't like the flavor of water, I'm going to force myself to have this 1 cup of water. If you're eating 3 times a day, plus you listen to my morning hydration, that's going to be 4 times in the day where you're having at least 20 ounces of water. Having 100 ounces of water is almost about 3 liters. And you're doing a pretty good job if that's the case. All right, guys. So listen, the key to achieving our goals is having clear systems that we execute 80% of the time. So hopefully today you guys got some warrior wisdom. You guys got some knowledge bombs that could help you have a little bit more priority management, a little bit more time management, but also give you guys some things to focus on how you can start your mornings. So that way you could be more healthy, but then also how you can approach your nutrition. So I'm Coach Cory, owner of Training for Warrior Soccer, guys, that you love, the Excelsior Health Podcast. Do me a favor, share it on Instagram, send it to someone that you think would value this information. And if you're someone who's like, man, I love this, I need some help on working out, I need some help on implementing these healthy habits, and I want to be surrounded by positive people, then Training for Warrior Saga is definitely going to be the place for you. We do have a 2-week free trial. Just like Netflix, you could test out our program and see if it's right for you. Go to www.tfwsaga.com and you'll get the rest of the information. Coach Cory, signing out. Beastie.